Well, we now have the finale for The Last of Us, and they've managed to finish strong because this was the episode that everyone probably had their eyes on, wondering in what way are they going to change things to fit certain things to come. How are they going to present certain characters? What are they possibly going to do in order to have this line up, I guess, to the second game? And luckily, it didn't really deviate in any way. Pretty much one for one for what the ending was of the first game. So we're quite lucky there. So at least we have the one season pretty good. Not many complaints. The odd criticism here and there, which I'll probably go over once we get into the episode. So let's just dive into it. So we start out with, of course, this is Ashley Johnson, the woman that voiced Ellie in the games, which I was wondering when she was going to show up anyway, but they have her in the start of this. I wasn't quite sure what they were doing for like the first part of this, because it's quite a short episode, so only 43 minutes. So I wasn't sure what way they were going with this. I wasn't sure if it was present day or whatever it would be, but it turns out this is in fact Ellie's mum. So that's the role that they've given to Ashley Johnson. But it's like she's like being chased by an infected, and it was kind of right there. I'm like, I recognize those panting sounds and all that. I recognize that from the game. So that's kind of what they have her do, where she's pregnant and she gives birth just sort of before she gets bitten in the leg. So that's Ellie there. But yeah, because I don't. This, from what I remember, this part wasn't in the game, was it? So they just kind of show you essentially how like Ellie came to be, sort of with what's her name, Marlene. So it's kind of that where you eventually have Marlene and that show up at the house and find her with her baby infected. So she's just like, I need you to take my baby, make sure someone looks after her, and then I need you to kill me. But Marlene at first is like, no, I can't kill you. Until she does. I will mention, I'm glad she didn't just go in there and fire the gun with the baby right there. That's what I thought they were going to do. I'm like, don't fucking do that. But luckily she says, make sure you put your hands over the baby's ears. Because I thought she was just going to fucking blast a shot off. So it just kind of gives you that opening. And then we get back to present day. And it's just kind of Joel trying to cheer her up. I imagine from the events of the previous episode. She's not quite there. But they've now reached what is it, Salt Lake? Yeah, Salt Lake City. So they're now got a journey on through to the hospital. We won't be long till we get to that part. That's the end part was really the part most people were paying attention to. Just like, what are they going to do here? But how are they going to present Joel at least? So they go through this building, and we do in fact they jump up here, and we do in fact get the giraffe scene. Part of me I was really hoping this would be a real giraffe. I'm like, are they going to do it? So far it's been pretty good in terms of everything's been filmed out in the open rather than just green screen and shit. But it's a CGI giraffe. It doesn't look too bad. So they kind of have that part. You just have Joel kind of looking at her, sort of enjoying this. And then they go out here where he's like, we don't have to finish this off. We can just go back to Tommy's and forget about the whole thing. She's just kind of like, well, that was, then all this stuff we went through, all the stuff I've done, it would end up being for nothing. But he's quite, he doesn't quite want to continue the journey. He'd rather just, go back with her. She's like, once we've been here, I'll go anywhere you want. Although that's, of course, not what's going to be happening. So they go through this bit, and it comes up about the, I forget what episode it was mentioned now. I think it was episode 3 when Joel was talking about was it episode 3? I can't remember now, but it's to do with, why he's kind of deaf in one ear. He's like, oh, it was me, the guy who missed. He just kind of goes into, it was after, a couple of days after Sarah was gone, and he talks about, he ended up missing, even though he was kind of at the point where he didn't really care anymore. He was ready. So he didn't really understand to this day why he missed, why he flinched when he went to take this shot at somebody. And he's kind of like, I guess the reason I'm telling you this, and Ellie's like, I know the reason why you're telling me this. She says, I guess time heals all wounds. And then he looks at her and says it wasn't time that did it. The reason why he's now been able to sort of, his wounds have now healed is because of Ellie. It's Ellie that's done that for him. So it's quite a really good scene. I don't think I'd done it any justice, but, there you go. So they start reading out, like, puns and that, and then you have the soldiers. I believe it's the Fireflies show up. I think in the game, I don't know, do they not get attacked by infected, from what I remember? But this time they have the Fireflies come across them, throw a smoke bomb next to them, takes Ellie, and then knocks out Joel, and then he wakes up in the hospital. He's kind of like, well, where's Ellie? And this part is pretty much one for one. So I don't think I need to go that far into it, but it's just she says, oh, well, they're prepping Ellie for surgery. So they haven't give Joel the opportunity, because as it now comes out that she's not going to survive this, because the cordyceps, Joel starts to realize, well, the cordyceps, is it in the brain? So then he starts to realize, oh shit, Ellie's going to end up dying. I haven't even been able to say goodbye. So it's just again the exact same as the game. She's just kind of like, just leave it. It's this is about curing the world. Some of which we'll probably go into that once we're through with this. So he wants to go and see Ellie. She's like, no. So she tells the guys to lead him out. If he tries anything, kill him. And that's when we get into the real deal. So they're like walking him down here, and then he stops, knocks that guy out, shoots him, shoots the other guy, and then we just get a whole. I quite like the way they just have this sort of flow for like shooting this, where he's just going through all the hallways, taking out the Fireflies, looking for Ellie, until he eventually makes it up to the pediatrics, where the operating room that they're in, sees Ellie on there. He's like, unhook her. Oh no, it's this guy. Oh no. What is possibly going to be the cause of this? What is going to be the effect of this? So that guy's like, I'm not letting you take her, and puts a knife up to him, so Joel shoots him. And then gets the other doctors to unhook her, and he takes her away. But unfortunately, they pan down to the dead doctor. Oh no, what the fuck is coming? I think we all know what's coming, but, fucking hell. Again, as I've said, I'm happy with the first. People still play the first game. I'd still play the first game, so, it's whatever. But I just found it funny that they pan down to this guy. I'm like, here comes Abby Smash. That's what we got on the way, unfortunately. If you were expecting a good second season, I don't see it happening. It we'll just have to wait and see. It all depends on how it's done, really, doesn't it? So he takes her down into the car park, and then why do I keep forgetting Marlene? Then Marlene shows up, and she's like, "Do you think this should be Ellie's choice? Why should we? Why should you make the decision for her?" And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, again, it cuts into like after this event. So like, Ellie wakes up in the back, and he's just like, "Oh, there was raiders and all that came in. There's no one." Wait, yeah, he tells her before that again, same as the game, where he just says, "Oh, it turns out there's loads of people like you, and they can't actually find a cure." And then he tells her that, "Oh, and then raiders came and attacked, and everyone's dead." And then we didn't go over it, though, I don't think. Did we go over it? So, yeah, it just shows you Joel. Joel, I think we did go over it. Joel shoots Marlene. Yeah, that part there, we just went by it. Shoots Marlene, and then he goes back over to her and says, she's kind of like saying, "Just let me live. Just let me live." And he says, "You just come after her," and then pops her in the head. And then we finish off where they're just driving back to Tommy's. They end up having the hike, like go a 5-hour hike, and he's telling her about Sarah, about them going on hikes. Sarah would have liked you. I'm pretty sure you would have liked her back. And then they finally reach the top of the hill when it's the settlement, Tommy's settlement. So they're now back up there. And I just went over this bit, and I'm completely blanking on it. I don't know why. She tells him about Riley, about what happened, that she, like, she goes, "Remember I told you that the person I killed before, the first person I killed." It just goes over what we've already seen, and just says, Riley turned, and then I had to kill her. And then she just goes, that was the first person that died. Then it was Tess. Then it was Sam. And it's part of that sort of survivor's guilt that these people have died whereas she's immune to the cordyceps. And then he cuts her off, and it's just like, you just have to, unfortunately things don't play out how you hope. You just have to move on and find something new to fight for. In the same way that Joel was, he found something to fight for in Ellie. And then she cuts him off and says, "I was, swear to me, was what you told me about the Fireflies true?" And he says, "Yeah." And she says, "Oh, yeah." She says, "Okay," and then that ends the episode. So as I say, a really good ending, really solid, strong ending. Not many, I haven't really got any complaints about this episode specifically, but I suppose we can do a sort of overall of the show, because I definitely think there is some ways that this show could have been definitely improved. There is a lot of room for improvement. I think overall it's a good show. It's not a great show, but it is good. I don't think there's any doubt about that, really. But I think one of the things it could have done with, I would have probably given it more episodes. I would have went up to about 12 episodes, just in order for it to have more of a flow. I think what part of this show was missing was more of the in between, like of the big events. Because sometimes it did feel like it was just big event, and just there wasn't a lot of in between. There wasn't a lot of room to breathe. We didn't see a lot of, because I think most of us would have liked to have seen more infected. Because what have we had? Maybe about three or four major times that the infected have shown up. And after that, we haven't really had much. Which is, you know, again, it still is a zombie show, so you do expect to see them. Although I wouldn't want it to the point of, you have The Walking Dead where, we must have a big horde every fucking episode. You don't want it to go down that route, but you still want to see encounters, and you still want to see Joel and Ellie working together and trying to figure a way out of their encounters with the infected. So that's definitely what it could have been, could have done with, is a bit more encounters with infected. I think we can all agree it could have done with a bit more of Ellie and Joel, because I don't think we had as much as we would have liked to. There really wasn't as much, as you get in the game. Well, I think they have kind of missed out parts from the game, as in terms of the actual gameplay. Because there is stuff within those parts of the game that, if you brought it to the series, I think it would have, added a bit more to it. And we just haven't had a lot of infected. Again, whenever infected have come into it, they have been shown as this, these are hard things to beat. But I still think it could have still done with a few more encounters. And again, that would have added more to, again, having the stuff in between sort of each episode. So I think if they actually had a few more episodes, it would have been a lot better for it. But, what else can I don't know what else I can really think of sort of overall. Because I have said that I might do a lot of stream going over the entire show, but, I'm kind of that busy at the moment. It's going to be impossible to do, but I probably will, go over it again. Try and do something to sort of have more, more thoughts sort of through every episode, and just, big overall sort of overview of the entire season. But again, a good season, a good first season. Don't count your chickens for season 2. That's probably going to be a disaster, because again, they've done this. They've done this the first season. Pretty much, they haven't really deviated that much from the first game. So when they try and adapt part 2 into season 2, and they do the same sort of thing where they don't really deviate from it, we're gonna have a lot of problems. Let's just say that. But we'll see. Again, it is Craig Mazin doing this. It's not fucking thingy. So we're just gonna have to wait and see on that front. But again, I'm happy with a good season. We all still play the first game, so I'm quite happy to just disregard the second season if it does turn out, in fact, to be a disaster. But I think for the first season, I think if I was to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably say 7.5 out of 10. Again, good, not great. I like it. I don't love it, but again, it's still a good show. And very, very little problems with it. I just think it would have been better if we had, as I say, more of the in-between stuff, a bit more infected, and that I think would have definitely improved the series a bit more overall. But that is all I've got for episode 9, the finale. I imagine the conversation's now going to be about, some people are going to say Joel's a piece of shit, he's evil because of what he did. And other people are going to say, well, no. And I'm definitely in the camp that says, no, I wouldn't really say. Again, it's supposed to be ambiguous. And again, I think a lot of the stuff is probably going to come up in conversation. Maybe it will come up more, I think, in season 2, if they go the route that season 2 did, where they completely removed the ambiguity of it. Ambiguity, I'll try and say it right at that time. So that's probably going to be the conversation going about, but I will try and do a live stream and a sort of overview of the entire show. We will have to see what happens, but that's another show done for the year. So it's good compared to bad. What have we had this year so far? We had Velma, if you can call that a TV show. So that's now, you know, we got one good show, one really fucking bad show at the moment, you know, because I'll be reviewing more stuff. What, Gotham Knights starts tomorrow, so I will be reviewing that. That is going to be fucking garbage. And then Mandalorian, on continuing the reviews for that. That's been pretty bad. It's not really a change from the other 2 seasons, so it is what it is. But that is what I've got to come. So, but if I do end up doing a stream on this, it's probably not going to be till like next week. It's just gonna depend. But I will finish off there. So, but yeah, all in all, a pretty good season of TV.